The bell over the cafe door chimed softly as Mason stepped inside, brushing off the drizzle from his jacket. The warmth of the small coffee shop wrapped around him instantly, a cocoon of roasted beans, quiet chatter, and mellow music. The sign above the counter read Nebula Brew, coffee across worlds. He'd heard rumors about this place, a cafe run by extraterrestrial immigrants who'd settled after the Galactic Accord opened trade with Earth. But what caught Mason's eye wasn't the decor of hanging planters and softly glowing star lamps. It was her, the barista behind the counter, a girl with dusky skin, tufted feline ears twitching at every sound, and a tail that flicked lazily behind her as she steamed milk. Her name tag read Rin. "Welcome to Nebula Brew," she said, voice lilting with a purr at the end. "First time here?" "Yeah," Mason replied, trying not to stare. "Heard your coffee's out of this world." Her golden eyes sparkled with amusement. "You could say that. We blend beans from 8 systems. Depends on how strong your heart is." He smirked. "Surprise me." Rin tilted her head, studying him for a moment too long, as if tasting the air between them. Then she smiled and turned to work. Her movements were a dance, grinding, pouring, swirling foam into a spiral that shimmered faintly blue. When she handed it over, the warmth seeped through the cup and into his fingers like a heartbeat. "One heart brew special," she said. "Careful, it knows what you need." He took a sip. The flavor wasn't just coffee. It was comfort. Bittersweet, rich, threaded with something electric that made his pulse quicken. For the first time in weeks he felt awake. "Damn," he muttered. "That's amazing." Rin's ears flicked up proudly. "I pour a little of myself into every cup." Mason became a regular. Every evening after work, he'd find himself drawn back to Nebula Brew. Each visit brought a new drink, the lunar latte, the solar drip, even a black hole espresso that almost melted his nerves. But it wasn't just the coffee that kept him coming. It was Rin. They talked about everything. The chaos of human cities, her life back on her home planet Viscerae, where dawn skies shimmered pink and silver. She'd come to Earth to study human emotion. "The most volatile energy in the galaxy," she'd said with a teasing grin. One night, after closing hours, Mason found her sitting on the counter, tail swaying as she hummed softly. "Don't you ever miss home?" he asked. Her smile faded. "Sometimes. But humans, you love differently. Fiercely. That's what I wanted to learn." She looked at him then, eyes glowing like twin suns. "You pour your hearts into everything. Even pain." He swallowed. "And what about you? Do you love like humans do?" She tilted her head. "We love through connection. Through energy. For us, affection isn't spoken, it's shared." She leaned closer, her voice barely above a whisper. "Would you like to feel it?" Mason's heart stumbled. "Rin." Before he could finish, she pressed her palm to his chest. A warmth bloomed beneath his ribs. Not burning, not cold, but alive. For a fleeting moment, he felt her presence inside him. Soft laughter, flickers of color, echoes of emotion. Then it faded. "That's what we call a soul blend," she said gently. "Now you know what it means when I say I pour love into every cup." Days turned into weeks. But the closer Mason grew to Rin, the more he noticed her exhaustion. Her tail drooped. Her eyes dimmed. She spent more time sitting than brewing. One night, he caught her trembling as she poured a drink. The blue shimmer of her coffee had dulled to gray. "Rin, what's happening to you?" he asked, stepping around the counter. She looked up, eyes wet with starlight. "I've given too much. Every cup takes a part of me, my warmth, my spirit. It's how Visceran love works. But I wanted humans to feel it too. Mason's chest tightened. Then stop. You don't need to prove anything. She smiled sadly. It's too late. The blend runs deep. He grabbed her hands. Then let me give some back. Her ears flattened. You can't. Humans can't channel it. Try me. The air between them pulsed. Rin hesitated, then placed her palm over his heart again. Mason reached up and did the same, pressing his hand over hers. A rush of energy surged through him, wild and brilliant. He thought of every night she had listened to him vent about work, every laugh, every shy smile across the counter. He poured all of it, gratitude, affection, fear, back into that touch. Rin gasped. The gray glow in her eyes flared into gold again. Mason, you did it. He smiled weakly. Guess humans can learn a few things from catgirls. When the dawn came, Nebula Brew reopened with a new warmth in the air. Rin was behind the counter again, healthy, bright, and mischievous as ever. But now, every drink she made shimmered with a golden hue instead of blue. Shared brew, she explained when Mason asked. Your human energy mixes with mine. Balanced, sustainable. She winked. We're partners now. He grinned, raising his cup. Partners in coffee or love. Rin's tail curled around his wrist as she leaned closer. Both. But love's stronger. The cafe bell chimed again as a new customer entered. Rin turned back to her machine, tail flicking happily. Mason took a sip of his drink and felt the warmth spread through him, not just from coffee, but from something deeper. Because sometimes he thought love isn't shouted. Sometimes it's poured quietly into every cup. Rin's strength was fading fast. The once lively gleam in her eyes dimmed like a dying star, and her tail, usually in constant motion, hung limp behind her. Mason's chest clenched as he watched her tremble, struggling to lift a mug. Rin, stop, he said, stepping forward. You don't have to keep giving pieces of yourself away. She smiled faintly, a soft purr in her voice despite the pain. It's what I was made to do, Mason. To pour love into every cup. But maybe I gave too much. He reached out, taking her hands in his. Then let me help you. Let me give some back. She shook her head weakly. Humans can't channel Viasran energy. It'll burn you. Mason tightened his grip. Then we burn together. For a heartbeat, silence. Then Rin pressed her palm against his chest, and Mason mirrored her. The cafe lights flickered as a wave of warmth exploded between them. Not fire, not pain, but pure connection. He felt her emotions flood through him. Fear, love, exhaustion, and the spark of hope that she'd never stopped holding for him. He poured his own feelings back. Gratitude, care, the strange, fierce love he'd been too afraid to name. The energy looped between them, golden now instead of blue, growing steadier, stronger. When it finally faded, Rin was smiling, truly smiling. The gray haze around her was gone, her eyes glowing once more. You did it, she whispered. You turned my giving into sharing. Mason brushed a strand of her hair aside, his thumb grazing her cheek. Guess we make a good blend. She laughed softly, leaning into his touch. Then let's pour it together. One cup, one heart at a time.